Welcome to Pulse Effect. I'm Prajwal.
And I'm Jacob.
And today we figured we'd come out to another one of our favorite coffee shops to do a magic jam session.
We figured why not go ahead and teach you guys a few basic, easy tricks that you can do with normal, everyday objects. We're talking rubber bands, cards, coins, a little bit of everything. Let's go ahead and jump right into it.
All right, let's start with rubber bands. This is an effect called Crazy Man's Handcuffs. So right here, you can see that I got two rubber bands. One is linked behind the other one. And there are only a couple ways that you could actually get these to separate. One is you obviously just, let go, but we're not gonna do that. The other one is that if you pull hard enough, you should be able to break them, but we're not gonna do that either. The third way, if I just blow on them a bit, you can actually see that they start to pass right through each other and come apart just like that. So let's get into learning this. Crazy Man's Handcuffs was invented by Arthur Sederington in 1970, but it didn't get the name Crazy Man's Handcuffs until 1989 when a book published by Michael Amar and Daryl. I really love this effect. It's my go-to effect with rubber bands whenever someone asks to see something I don't feel like whipping out any cards. So for this tutorial, I am going to use two differently colored rubber bands. When you do this performance to an actual spectator, I do recommend using the same color rubber bands. It'll make the illusion a little bit stronger. But if you use two different colors, you'll be able to see what's going on with the rubber bands a little bit easier for this tutorial. The way you're going to hold the rubber bands, one on each end, is the same. You're going to have your index finger on one end, the thumb on the other end, just like this. You're going to link them by taking one rubber band and placing it behind the other one, and then inserting your thumb. And in this position, this is a legitimate link. There actually really isn't a way to get this out, so we are going to have to use some sleight of hand. Now, in my performance, the way that I like to do this is typically to tell them up front that there are only three ways to do it. One is to manually unlink the two rubber bands. The other way, and this is where the secret move is going to happen, is if you pull really hard, they will snap. And as I demonstrate that, I'm going to do the sleight. And so what's going to happen here, and we're going to do it on the orange rubber band, is as I pull, I'm going to clamp my middle finger down on my index finger just like this. And as I pull away, what you're going to see happen, and I hope this will go slow enough so you can see this, is that the rubber band is going to slide off my index finger, just like that. And it's going to slide on to my middle finger. Now, my index finger is going to go into this loop of the rubber band right next to my thumb, and I'm going to bring the whole thing right back. And as I do, you're going to see that the orange band is now on the other side of the blue band. Now, they're going to be able to tell if you hold still, so you want to make sure to keep this in constant motion. And that's when I say, the third way to do it is to blow on the rubber bands, and then you can turn to the side and show them that the bands have indeed been unlinked. So I just want to leave you with a couple of performance tips here. It's really important that when you do this effect, during the genuine link, as well as when you perform the actual sleight and have it unlinked, you always keep these bands in motion. The illusion works really well if you always keep the bands moving. They're not going to be able to tell which side the bands are on if it's constantly in motion. So when you begin the effect, just idly keep it moving. After you perform the actual sleight, make sure to keep it in motion as well up until you actually begin the separation, and that's when you can sort of slow the motion down to show that the bands have been unlinked.
All right, now we're gonna learn the French drop, but first, let's see what it looks like. All right, we're gonna take the coin, just like this, and then we're gonna grab our pen, and we're just gonna give that a wave over the coin, and it's gone completely. All right, so the French drop has been around just about as long as modern magic itself. It first showed up in The Discovery of Witchcraft, a book by Reginald Scott in the 1500s, believe it or not. And it's a super simple, super versatile vanish. You might have done it or seen it in the past, but we're gonna talk about how to do it, the mechanics, and a couple of subtleties and things you need to think about so that this vanish can take you a long way. All right, so in order to accomplish this vanish, you're going to want to hold the coin at the fingertips of the left hand. The idea here is that you're going to let the coin fall into the hand just as the right hand comes over and pretends to take the coin. And it's going to look for sure like you took that coin in your right hand. So I'll take that coin, I'll place it between the thumb and the middle finger of the left hand, and then I'll contact the edge of the coin with the tip of my index finger of the left hand, and I'll use that to twirl it or pull it around such that it's now facing the audience as I rotate my hand back into position so that you're looking at the face of that coin. Now you can hold the coin a couple of ways for the display. You can do it out at the fingertips like this, so the face is in line with all of the fingertips, or you can turn the coin 90 degrees and hold it so that the face of the coin is in line with this edge of your index finger. I do something in between, but I kind of prefer closer to this way because I think it's more natural both for display and just for the position of the wrist. If I hold it like this, I kind of either have to turn my body or kick my hand out for it to look at all natural. So I'll place the coin in the fingers, we'll do the little display, and then what's going to happen is the important part. So as my right hand comes over, under cover of the fingers, that coin is going to fall into the fingers of the left hand. That's it. But I need to time it such that both of those things happen at the same time. So my right fingers come in front, my thumb is going to come behind the coin, but it's going to be far enough back and high enough such that the coin won't hit it when it falls. So then I'm just going to mime taking the coin with my fingers, and it's going to be secretly retained in the fingers of the left hand in this finger palm position. Now, you need to be really careful about what you're doing with both hands when this happens. So let's start with the left hand, or the display hand. You do not want to clench your fist. You do not want to move your hand away too quickly. You don't want it to be super stiff and rigid. You want it to be natural and relaxed. A great way to accomplish this is to practice actually taking the coin a few times. So try that a few times and see what your left hand naturally does. It's almost certainly going to naturally turn, relax, and fall just a little bit. Same thing with the right hand. You want to make sure that this looks natural. So you don't want to swoop over and then clench your fist. You want this to be looking like you're naturally taking the coin. And a great way, again, to practice that is to actually take it a few times. Try taking it a few times and seeing what it looks like, and then move to miming it, and ideally it should look pretty similar. Now, you can either go right into a fist with the right hand as you're dropping that coin, or you can pretend to take it more at the fingertips, which is what I usually like to do, and you can kind of kick your thumb out just a little bit to give the illusion that it's pinning that coin in place behind your fingers. From here you can vanish it right away, or what I like to do is actually ditch the coin. So I've got the coin held out, retained in my left hand. Spectators believe it's in my right hand. I'll come up, whether to my pants pocket or to my shirt pocket, and grab a pen that I have there, and I'll just drop the coin from the fingers of my left hand into that pocket as I grab the pen and bring it out, wave it over the hand, and vanish just like this. And now I can end completely clean. All right, so that's how to do a basic French drop, and it will take you a long way. There are a lot of different ways you can do it. You can also use, obviously, different objects. It doesn't have to just be a coin. The other performance tip that I would give is just to take your time. Make it feel natural, practice, actually taking the coin several times, and don't run when you're not being chased. Slow down as you're doing the performance of this. Direct your attention with your eyes and with your head. Don't draw attention to ditching the coin, and everything will feel perfectly natural.
Now, I can't tell you what this next one's called yet, and you'll see why in a second, but go ahead and take any card out. Doesn't matter, this is a totally free selection. I don't memorize it, I can actually see the card, so that's totally fine. Go ahead and put it back. So you have the Jack of Hearts. One more time, we'll take a look at the Jack of Hearts, and I'll go ahead and place it in the middle of this pack. Go ahead and push that all the way in for me. That's card to mouth. So it's not entirely clear where this version of the effect originated. It's similar to an older effect called hand to mouth, but this version doesn't involve ruining any playing cards, and it makes a really, really good addition to an ambitious card routine. So let's hop into the tutorial and learn how this works. So this effect, you're gonna have your spectators select any card. It's a totally free choice, so we'll just pretend that they chose the 10 of clubs. I'm gonna leave it on top of the deck for now, but normally they'd be looking at it and examining it. As they're looking at the card and memorizing the card, what you're going to do is get a break on top of the bottom card of the deck. To do that, I like to just pull down with my thumb and get a break like that. It is going to be a thumb break, and you'll see why in a minute. So once you have this break, you're going to swing cut the pack of cards, and you're going to hold out your left hand to allow the spectator to put their selection back on top of the deck. Now, because you're allowed to know what this is, if they put it down face down, go ahead and just turn it over. I usually like to tell them to put it in face up. At this point, as your hands come back together, you're going to turn over the selection with your right hand, with the packet on the right hand, just like this. The selection's now on top of the left hand. You're then going to push their selection forward, and as you do, you're going to drop this bottom card on top of their actual selection. Now this looks something like this from an exposed view. I'm going to push, and I'm gonna let that go just like this. So we're in this position now where we have an indifferent card on top of the packet, and we have the spectator's card jutting out of the deck. As you do this, you're gonna wrist kill. You're gonna turn your wrist, so what they're gonna see at speed looks something like this. And that is gonna hide the fact that there's now an indifferent card on top of the left-hand packet. Now, you're gonna show them their selection one last time, and what you're gonna do now is you're gonna push their selection in as you turn your wrist over, as you peel off the indifferent card. Now from an exposed view, just like this, remember this is their selection, it's gonna look like this, right? However, with all of those pieces in place, it's gonna look something like this. You'll push the card in, rotate your hand, and peel the top card, an indifferent card. It doesn't matter what it is. All right, so again, at speed, it's gonna look like this. And you're just gonna place it in the middle of this packet. You can jam it in there, or I like to actually start the swing cut and then just place it in like this. And you're gonna present this to them and you're gonna tell them, go ahead and push that card in the rest of the way. As they do that, you're going to take the top card of the left-hand packet, the selection, and you are literally going to put this in your mouth. Like that. I'm gonna leave this card out of my mouth for the duration of the tutorial, but normally it would be in your mouth and you're gonna communicate to your spectator exclusively with hand gestures instead. We're gonna set this aside for now so I can continue the tutorial. So once they have pushed their card into the deck, what you're gonna do is with your left-hand packet, you're gonna pull down on it and you're just gonna insert the right-hand packet inside, square all of that up, and at this point I like to snap my fingers, do some sort of magical gesture, turn over the top card with the expectation that their card is now on top of the deck, and it's obviously not gonna be their card. At this point, a lot of spectators will immediately look up at you because they think you messed this trick up. If they don't for some reason, I like to just point with my fingers up to my face where their selection will be in my mouth. So this is gonna be a really cheeky effect. You're literally just gonna put the card in your mouth, and a lot of folks, when I teach this to them, when I show them, they're worried that the spectator's gonna know what's going on. Don't worry about it. All attention is on the card that they're pushing in and on your hands. They're not gonna look at your mouth. So just feel confident, put the card in your mouth, and then go back to your hands and gesture with your hands as to what they're going to do. I promise they're not gonna notice anything. We hope you enjoyed being part of our jam session today and maybe picked up something new.
And don't forget that even though these are all classic, basic tricks, you can use them in a ton of different ways and get a lot of mileage out of them. So let us know down in the comments if you have any questions, tips, or other applications that you use.
As always, thanks for sticking around.